Hi, this is Maryn McGaw, and you're listening to Chasing Dreams with Amy J.
Welcome to Chasing Dreams podcast with Amy J. Amy believes that realizing a life without regrets is achieved by taking chances, chasing your dreams, making moves, and overcoming your doubts. The Chasing Dreams podcast will help you overcome life's obstacles, believe in your potential, and inspire you to face your fears. And now here's the woman who is passionately pursuing her dreams, Amy J.
Hey, Dream Chasers. Thank you so much for tuning into episode 146 of Chasing Dreams. Guys, 146. Do you know what that means? We're 4 away from 150. This is just hitting me. It's just hitting me. But we wouldn't get here without you guys, and we definitely wouldn't have this episode if it wasn't for our Patreon campaign supporters. They are this episode's sponsors, and we can't thank you guys enough for your support and just for listening. For more information on our Patreon campaign and or if you'd like to donate, you guys can learn more at amyj21.com/Patreon. This episode is airing during Pride Month 2018, and in continued honor and recognition of Pride Month, I want you to meet a dream chaser who's going to blow you away. Her name is Maryn McGaw, and she is a queer trans female cinematographer. She grew up just outside of Cleveland, Ohio, the offspring of 2 architect parents. This led her down the path to studying mechanical engineering before finding her dream in filmmaking and cinematography. Her love is of lighting, camera work, and collaborations. She's also served as a crisis and suicide prevention phone line counselor at the Trevor Project, talking with LGBTQ plus youth across the country. And she is proud to further trans visibility. We had a great conversation that I think you guys are going to enjoy and learn from. So here she is. Hey, Maryn, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you today? Everything's well?
Everything is well. It's a little wet outside, but hey, at least I have a roof over my head, so I should not complain.
Oh, yeah. No, we got one of those tenants. Yeah.
Right? How are you
But you're
doing?
East Coast, I'm West Coast.
Yep.
So it's sun shining here, and yeah.
Yeah,
blue
it's weird.
skies.
It's great because you guys just celebrated the LA Pride Festival this past weekend, right?
Oh, yeah, I know. Well, unfortunately, I wish I could have been there, but no, I've been recovering. I had surgery. Yeah. So anyway, no, I could not make it out my door.
Oh, that's a bummer, but
yeah,
that's all right. You have the whole month to celebrate.
Yeah, the spirit of Pride.
Exactly.
Oh, my goodness.
Now, you weren't always in LA though, right?
No, it's been a long trip around the country. Yeah, started in Ohio. A little town between Cleveland and Akron. So
Ohio, born to 2 architects. I got to tell you, I don't know one architect, let alone 2.
Oh, no. Well, I mean, so both my parents are architects. They met in college. They went to the same college, Kent State University. Woo. I have 3 other siblings, and we all just grew up and accepted that, those are the types of parents we had, and that's the type of thinking. And, it's
so is that where the science kind of went in for you?
Yeah, because then that shifted, or it kind of segued. My older brother got the doctor treatment, and I got the engineer treatment. So I kind of went into that side of science and theory. Yeah.
So
go ahead.
So growing up, was that something that you wanted to do? I mean, growing up as in the science world, I'm used to that. I had that, but is that something that was your dream?
As a child, my original dream was astrophysicist, just like Einstein.
Wow.
But then that pared down into mechanical engineer with some aerospace in there. So more practical, more hands-on than theoretical.
Still aiming high.
Yeah. Oh, no, I still did it. My undergrad, I studied mechanical engineering, and I got my degree in 5 years, So that dream was accomplished.
Now, as you were doing that, though, because you kind of found your love and passion for filmmaking and cinematography, did you find that kind of steeped in to your childhood as you were growing up? Were there signs of that?
See, that's weird because I guess I was so focused on the science side and the logic side of my brain.
Mm-hmm.
I just, like, that took over, and I didn't even realize I wanted a creative outlet until it was, too late. Like, I was the type of student that, was doing all the AP classes, not taking any photo, not taking any art in high school. Like, I didn't start that until college. So it was kind of like a late realization that that's something I wanted to seep in. I had an extra or an open credit freshman year, and I was like, oh, I'll go take 35 millimeter black and white photography.
Just cause.
And just cause, like, my dad had a camera, and I'd snap away, but, like, I never felt like I was taking good pictures. It was just, playing around.
Was that in the days of film?
Yes. Yeah.
For all you guys out there, there was a world of film.
Right. Yeah. So, disposable cameras, both my parents had cameras, that basically only got pulled out for birthdays.
Yeah. The special occasion camera.
Yeah. You only shoot like 1, maybe 2 rolls a year. So you have pictures from, every month of the year.
Yeah. The kind where you only take one shot, you frame it, you practice, you got to be sure because you don't have unlimited space.
Exactly. Oh, so I mean that type of care into framing and taking a shot, of course, that's something I love. And I guess, I could speak to both my engineering and cinematography side, like that care and deliberation definitely coincides.
But that was one class. Did that really have that, not to downplay
yes.
it, but that kind of impact?
Yeah, because like I said, I hadn't done anything in high school. My older brother had. So like, I guess I was leaving it to him. And then my younger brother did as well. So I was leaving it to him as well. And I just my outlet was music. Mm-hmm. So like I went hard and into music, into percussion and drumming and marching band and jazz band, and occupied all my time. Taking that photography class, then I got in and I was like, oh, wow, I can like actually get that work study job and work in the darkroom as well and get even deeper into this science and this like understanding of the medium. And then that led to multimedia, which led to video editing, which led to software, which led to cinematography and actual film production.
Was that all during college?
It was a small creep in. Yeah. It was like photo and then to video. And then by my 3rd year of undergrad, I was like, oh, well, my undergrad didn't offer any cinema classes or film production classes, only cinema studies. So I had to go to NYU, make up my own major, or like go as a visiting student, making up my own major, to then realize, oh, wow, this is where I want to be. But I'm so late I've already done 3 years of engineering, so I might as well finish up, and then go to grad school, go to film school for cinematography.
So not even a master's or something in mechanical engineering. You just went straight for...
Oh, no way. I would not want to do that. Yeah. I've given up on engineering because, once I realized it was one of those like thinking for yourself type of realizations of like I kept looking into engineering, but I could never find the job I wanted to do. I loved the science and the theory and the problems, but I could never see myself working on pipe fittings or working in software. There wasn't any it felt too static. I needed a dynamic process, kind of like video editing, kind of like filmmaking, something always that like is challenging, not just one problem and like move on piecewise.
So do you regret having waited those extra 2 years and not just kind of switching over?
Oh, of course. Yeah. I mean, had I tried film out in high school, had I tried photography out, but then again, maybe I wouldn't have had the same passion because it could have swung the other way. I could have burned out myself in photography early on and then said, why aren't I in the sciences?
That's true. So where did you end up studying for grad school filmmaking?
I went down to Savannah, Georgia, SCAD, the Savannah College of Art and Design.
That's not expected. I thought you were going to say NYU or even LA or something.
The short story of it was because I was in engineering, I was very busy and missed some of the application deadlines for the California colleges because I was doing engineering projects. And then the short part of the NYU story is why I didn't apply there was when I was there, I was dating a girl, and both her and I, well, she stayed on at NYU, and I made the very, very mature decision of I'll go to a different college so I can focus on my filmmaking, not our relationship. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So, regrets, but that's how it went.
It's part of life.
Mm-hmm.
Good, bad, everything kind of happens for a reason, I believe, at least. And here you are today, though. You're doing cinematography.
Right. Finally, I made it to the West Coast. I'm in LA. I'm doing it. I'm succeeding, working up.
So what is that like? You go to SCAD, you get your degree.
Mm-hmm.
Do you come out with a job immediately?
No. Oh, well, I mean, okay. So the other side path of my life has been my gender identity. After grad school, I had everything figured out. So up until then, I was very career focused and was always, using that as the excuse and not paying any attention to myself or my gender. So, but after film school, I had already, realized engineering wasn't for me, film is, and I had everything else wrapped up, except for my gender, because that had always been at play beneath the surface. So I decided before coming out to LA to take a year off, and I moved in with my mom and took that time to be unemployed and just transitioned. I focused on myself. I got healthy and got health insurance and started transitioning my gender. Yeah.
Well, good for you. I mean, so that's been something that had been in your mind. Was that in your mind through college as well?
Oh, since puberty, since 11, 12 years old, or I mean, even before that, but it wasn't like a worry until puberty hits,
And so your decision to focus on yourself, not an easy one that I think a lot of people kind of avoid. What was it that made you decide to actually pull the trigger and take care of yourself?
Well, I mean, under the surface, okay, so of course I had all my other tenets of my life figured out, but I knew I did not want to date or have a family like as being a father. Like I couldn't go forward anymore with my life without transitioning. And also I had, depression and, suicidality in the background as well too. And I never saw a future. I couldn't envision a future because I was still my male self. So it took a lot of convincing that the healthiest option, the most obviously just life-affirming option would be to take the time, and focus on myself, give myself that time to realize what the words are, what they mean to me, and then how to take the first step. Because once I learned the words, I promised myself, okay, that's what you are, but you may never come out. You might be a person that can live closeted without actually saying, yeah, I'm trans, and let me start hormones or let me just acknowledge it. I thought it was a secret. Even after admitting it to myself, which was the first step, I thought it was a secret I could still just keep living my day to day. But then that seeped in and was its own poison, and was like, no way, this is who you are. You've kept it inside for 25 years, so let's go ahead and do the healthy thing and be yourself, which was simple, but then just painful because you have to come out to your family and everybody and change your name, change your gender marker, not necessarily, but there are many steps to coming out.
And it's very personal and very specific for each person, but, congratulations on living your truth.
Thank you. Yeah. Oh, I know. If only I'd known. Trans 15 years ago, 20 years ago, that word wasn't in the zeitgeist. So it was I didn't have any trans role models in my hometown. or to my knowledge, representation on television has just recently started to become admirable. Yeah. Well, that? Maybe like 2-3 years even.
Yeah, that's true. And so can I ask, you went through some difficult times. You talked about depression. You talked about suicidal thoughts. For anyone who's listening now and is probably going through their own similar kind of situation, personal themselves, how can they get help? Any advice?
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's, let me start with saying it's just mostly how comfortable you are, or like find somebody to reach out to. It can be a friend, a family member, a stranger. I guess break it down that way first, because, it's different for everybody. But of course there are, helplines that you can call, both the National Suicide Hotline or the Trevor Project, which is the LGBTQ Suicide and Crisis Intervention Line, which I actually worked for. So that's talking to, a stranger on the phone and just talking through whatever you want. Or otherwise, you could confide in a friend or a family member or anybody close to you. And just saying the words out loud, of course, for me personally, was such a help, just to realize this is real. There are other people like this. It's not in your head. It doesn't make you lesser than. It doesn't make you anything other than yourself and normal.
Aside from this conversation, which is also kind of shining a light on LGBTQ trans people, do you think that the representation on TV is pretty accurate? I mean, one of those, it'd be better to have
one of those.
Yeah.
That's one of those trick questions. It's accurate in very small arenas. I'd say it's getting better. But I mean, yeah, it's strange because Time magazine called the tipping point 3 years ago and said that visibility, we've permeated the media. But that doesn't mean that we have the right amount of advocacy or accuracy in the portrayals, because even since then, there's been at least 3 movies I can think of that are the actors still played by a cis person. So it's there's
still work to be done.
Still working to be done. Yeah, which is one of the things that me as a filmmaker in LA is trying to assist with.
Well, let's talk about that a little bit. So after you made your transition, you went straight to LA?
I went to get my health insurance and to get some employment and paycheck. I did a side job or a year at, I went to the University of Virginia and did video work for their fundraising department over there. And it just so turned out that they have one of the best, or one of the top 10 endocrinology or, study of hormones medical center in the country. So I got a good place. I was in such a nice place to be beginning my medical transition. That was a little side.
Was that intentional on your part, or was that just?
It was basically the millennial the unemployed millennial taking the job that came along.
Well, that worked out really well then.
It did, yeah. But then I was there and, counting down the months, or I gave myself a year. I said, okay, and then you're going to drop everything and move out to LA. You don't have a few people in LA, but you don't have a job. You don't have a place to live. But I'll just jump and I'll go. And it was also around the same time, or within that year, both North Carolina had passed the bathroom law. So there was all that going on. And then it turns out it was the year before the Charlottesville rallies. So I realized it was a good time to get out of there.
Yeah, probably a good call.
Yeah, no, more than happy to move on and come out to California.
Now, did you come out to California with a job already lined up, or was it, hey, I need to get out, LA, I'll figure it out?
Oh, see, it was hard dragging my feet from being unemployed for a year and transitioning to working kind of a desk job of video work for a year. It was difficult. It was so many unknowns. I came out here with, I think I knew half a dozen people from grad school that were out here working in different arenas. And so I had a couch to crash on, and did that for the first month before finding my footing with an apartment and any job. Yeah.
So how did you get from there to today?
Oh, slowly.
Patience?
It's one of those things. Patience, networking, that I was going to say dirty word, but it's just that misunderstood word. Just working up, starting as a PA, and then working low budget things, and then working a little better budget things, and just meeting people and being friendly and being on set and showing what you can do.
Now, is cinematography where your passion is, or is it?
Yes. Yeah. That's the peak. That's the top. Mm-hmm. That's my end all. But, I know that it will take 5, 10, 15 years before, that's something that I can be renowned with or about.
Or known for?
It takes time to work up to, because since that's the top, that's, on par with the director.
Can you explain to the listeners what cinematography means?
Yes, cinematography is the study or the use of light in camera work and composition to tell the story, where the director is the one that, is sculpting the story, and the actor's performance, the cinematographer is the one that everything you see in the frame. We're in charge of that.
So can you name a good representation of quality cinematography?
Well, I guess the one that everybody knows is like Roger Deakins. He's consistently done plenty of movies that I think just show off the craft of cinematography.
What's one movie?
Oh my, wow. No, this
yeah, I know.
He did Sicario. He does all the Coen brothers. He just did Skyfall. Well, not just. Wow, I mean, I need to pull up his IMDb, but he's done dozens and dozens.
No Country for Old Men.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, this is why we have IMDb, guys, and Wiki.
Right. No, I mean, yeah, exactly. He's amazing.
A Beautiful Mind.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
The Big Lebowski. Okay. So those are the kinds of things. Was there a movie or something that kind of led you to cinematography, or did you just, from trying these different roles as PA and all the other roles you may have taken?
I knew
really?
From the get-go. Once I realized film was an option and a career path, I knew it was cinematography, because the care and the deliberation, as well as the ingenuity or creativity of, it's both the theory and the practice that I was looking for in engineering, but in a, photographic creative realm. So movie-wise, I don't know, growing up in the 90s, I had plenty of favorites, but ironically, one of my favorite movies was The Matrix. And it's finally fallen into place, because both the Wachowskis, both the sisters are trans themselves. So now retroactively, you realize it's a very trans film and trans allegory. And for that to have been my favorite growing up, I'm like, oh, wow. Well, of course you're trans. It all makes sense. They've also just made Sense8, which is, of course, such a diverse,
on Netflix.
Yeah, which just explores gender and sexuality and culture and diversity, and it's incredible.
And guys, we'll have links to some of this stuff for you on the show notes page, so don't worry about missing something. You can check it out And I mean, because some of these are some great films and series that they should check out.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I have lists on lists, but now that you're asking the moment, I don't know if I can come up with them.
It's always the on the spot moment, like, oh no, what did I say? But The Matrix
what is
very relatable.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I'm curious to know that, you know, why not being a director? Is that just too much freedom for it?
It's interesting. In film school, you do at least one directing class to learn and direct your own project. And I did that and I loved it. But I don't know. I guess I associate writing with directing as well. And I have such a hard time getting all my ideas into like a cogent 1-page just idea. So if it was already written, I could direct it. But I am actually currently, you know, trying to sculpt a trans web series or type of project where I think I'm going to take the director role, and it'll give me an opportunity to then work with a cinematographer that's not me.
Right.
So then I can work on my communication as well and make sure that I take that seat and give it to somebody else. So,
that's
you know, it's fair. Yeah.
That was going to be one of my next questions is, do you have a preference in terms of medium? Web series, TV, film, commercials, etc.?
I mean, my end-all dream is, of course, going to be just feature narratives, feature length. But these days, I mean, the serial, I mean, you know, quote unquote TV, but it's more like streaming. That's long form feature, and you can do so much with it. So, I mean, you know, you look at Breaking Bad and you look how fascinatingly beautiful and integral that cinematography is with the characters and the story. Like, and, you know, and then you're on that for years instead of months.
It's interesting to see how some quality shows that are series are just as powerful as these great Academy Award nominated movies.
Of course.
Well, you know, and it's a credit to everyone involved and as to how they're doing it. Just because I think that there are some shows, Netflix seems to have a lot or is increasing the number of amazing series, but I've always been a fan of The 100, which also I think just the storytelling, the cinematography, the direction, the writing over, I think they're in season 5 right now. It's just captured.
Wow. No, I haven't seen that.
I would recommend it. It's on Netflix also, the episodes. But you think you know what's going on and then it changes. But I think that's what film does. That.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yes. Subversion. And yes, you know, playing counter to expectation. Yeah.
Now, as a cinematographer, is there something, and forgive my ignorance in this, but is there a favorite thing you like to do? Do you have a style defined?
Thing I like to do.
Do you have a style?
Ooh, I don't know. It's funny because, so back in film school, I wasn't out yet. So, of course, and I was dealing with my depression in obviously whatever creative outlet I could at the time, which was obviously filmmaking. So a lot of those shorts were like moody and dark and contrasty. And it's just funny because that's like the style that I feel like I began with. And slowly I've been like lightening up and opening up and doing a lot more comedy lately, which is, you know, something that 5 years ago wasn't on my plate.
Wait, that's interesting. So are you saying that your mental health, how you were feeling was directly correlating to how you...
I mean, being trans as well, like I kept it a secret and nobody knew. Like it was a surprise to everybody. But if you look at the work I was doing, that was my outlet. But since coming out, I mean, my mental health has, you know, soared. It's been, that's what I needed. That's what I was fighting against. I found an amazing therapist when I was living in Virginia, and I talked to her every week. And I had already, since I had a year off prior to that, I'd already worked through all my issues and done all this education and read all these, articles and trans authors and found out what I was rebelling against or just the gender identity I was fighting, the mask I was wearing. So yeah, now it was kind of when I realized that and got past it, it became kind of scary because it was like, well, if that used to be my style of filmmaking, of cinematography, what is going to be my style now that I'm like a happy person and have these things sorted out? So I'm still exploring my new style.
Huh. Now, you said, I wanted to touch on something that you had said, that you saw, you did get help from a psychiatrist, was it? Mm-hmm. Is that something that you think helped, that was important to do?
The hard part, or definitely in that situation, let me start with state to state, you need sign off by a therapist or counselor to be able to change your name or begin hormones. It depends state to state. But for me, it was, yes, I want to talk to that my job in Virginia, unfortunately, I had to recloset myself. So that's what I needed to talk through, of that pain and that struggle for that year of, oh no, like I was doing so well. I was about to come out to the world, but in order to get this job, I felt like I needed to recloset myself. And then that was the issue that I needed to just tell somebody about every week and complain and be like, oh, it's hard. Yeah.
You know what? You're very brave.
I'm serious. Mean, that's one of the words you could use. Yeah.
I mean, to go through that, I didn't realize that you had recloseted yourself for the year that you were in Virginia.
Yeah.
That's not easy at all. So you're very, very brave. And to get help with that.
Thank you. Yeah, I guess personally I had felt I wasn't ready, which is a silly thought, but one of those like, well, I'm not like trans enough, or I'm not far enough along in my transition to come out to convince people that I'm trans, which is just ridiculous because, I've always been trans before I realized the word. So to think that I needed to like perform at a certain level or show, have this makeup skill or, sure. It's all those things of development.
But when you're first going through it, though, I'm sure it was a natural thing to think.
Yeah, you feel like you needed some kind of checklist, just to make it tangible, just to make it like, and maybe it was another reason or another like dragging of my feet to feel ready and to feel strong. I don't know.
Well, you've taken this time, from your teens to where you are now, trying to, and part of the title for this episode, taking the time to meet yourself. Mm-hmm. Are you happy where you are today? Meeting yourself?
Absolutely. Yes. I've come in many circles and, met myself more times than I can, I don't know, change myself or challenge myself and grew. And, I'm very happy.
Safe to say that you're happiest living your truth?
Yes, absolutely.
Well, that's awesome. Before I let you go, though, I got one more question for you.
Okay.
All right. For someone who's chasing their dream, whatever it may be, being truthful to themselves, trying to be a cinematographer, whatever, what is one thing you would tell them to do for themselves?
Oh, wow. Start doing projects. Start being true to yourself. If you have a little voice in your head saying, no, I'm not that, or no, I can never be that, ask why you're thinking that. Ask if that's a, societal type of pressure or expectation. Because so many of my years was doubting myself in the sense of both the person I was and the person I could be. the things that made me happy, my wants and needs. And it took me 20 years before I, had answers, had answers that made me smile to those questions. And then that led to me being able to envision a future and, have a path and want to just be a part of this world and make some good things.
That's some great advice, Maryn. Thank you so much for coming on the show and just sharing your story.
Thank you, Amy.
And guys, that was Maryn McGaw. You guys can learn more about Maryn and find all the links we mentioned on the show notes page over at amyj21.com/episode 146. That's episode 146. All right, guys, until next time, keep chasing.
Thank you so much for listening to Chasing Dreams. Amy would love to connect with you and hear all about your pursuit of chasing your dreams. Connect with her on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram via @ChasingDreamsHQ. Or you can find Amy on Twitter @AmyJ21. That's AIMEEJ21. Be sure to visit headquarters over at ChasingDreamsHQ.com for more inspiration, motivation, and resources to help with your own dream chase. We hope you'll join Amy next week, and until then, keep chasing.